On January 2nd, 1935, a man checked into the Hotel President, an upscale establishment in downtown Kansas City. He registered as Roland T. Owen from Los Angeles, signing the hotel ledger in a careful hand. The guest requested an interior room away from the busy street and was assigned room 1046 on the 10th floor. Hotel bellboy Randolph Probst first encountered Owen when delivering his single bag to the room. He described the guest as a man in his mid-20s with a cauliflower ear, possibly from boxing. Owen was well-dressed but had only a hairbrush, comb, and toothpaste with him, no clothing beyond what he wore. The next morning, January 3rd, hotel maid Mary Soptic arrived to clean the room around 10:30 a.m. She found Owen sitting in the dark, with the blinds drawn. A note on the door read, "Don't disturb." When she offered to clean anyway, Owen agreed but remained in the room, seated in a chair near the window. Soptic noticed Owen wasn't alone. The telephone rang and Owen answered with, "No, Don, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry." Later, she overheard him speaking to someone in the room, saying, "I'll be ready when you get here." That evening, another hotel employee, Gene Owen, no relation, received a strange phone call at the switchboard. The caller asked for room 1046, but when she connected him, he immediately asked for the occupant by a different name, Don, not Roland. The caller angrily demanded to know where Don was. The following day, January 4th, Mary Soptic returned to clean the room. This time she found Owen lying on the bed, visibly ill or injured. A note on the door again read, "Don't disturb." When she inquired about his health, Owen claimed he'd been in a fight. More disturbing, Soptic spotted multiple items that hadn't been there the day before. A rope on the floor and a knife under Owen's pillow. Around 2 a.m. on January 5th, hotel guests reported hearing a disturbance from room 1046, sounds of a struggle, moaning, and cries of, "No, don't, I'll take you to her." At approximately 7 a.m., the hotel received an anonymous call from someone asking staff to check on the occupant of 1046. When bellboy Harold Pike entered the room, he discovered a horrific scene. The naked man, later identified as Owen, was on his knees, arms stretched out on the bed as if in prayer. His hands were bound with cord, his head bloodied, and he had been severely beaten and stabbed. Remarkably, despite catastrophic injuries, he was still alive. The door to room 1046 was locked from the inside. The bathroom window, the only other entry point, was locked with a safety catch and had a 14-story drop to the street below. How the attacker or attackers entered and left the room remains unexplained. Owen was rushed to nearby Kansas City General Hospital, but died of his injuries before he could provide any coherent explanation of what had happened. His final words, according to hospital staff, were simply "Sandy," spoken to no one in particular. The mystery deepened when police attempted to notify next of kin. The Los Angeles address Owen had provided didn't exist. His clothing labels had been removed, suggesting a deliberate attempt to hide his identity. Police issued a nationwide bulletin seeking information about the victim, including photographs of the dead man in the newspaper. When no one claimed the body and it was about to be buried in a pauper's grave, an anonymous donor sent $10 to the funeral home for the burial expenses. The donor included specific instructions. Owen's body should be dressed in a suit, placed in a decent casket, and buried in Memorial Park Cemetery. The money arrived in cash with no return address. 3 days after the burial, police received another anonymous call saying Roland T. Owen's real name was Artemus Ogletree, and that he was 17 years old from Birmingham, Alabama. The case might have remained an obscure historical footnote if not for what happened 2 years later. In 1937, Eleanor Ogletree saw a newspaper article about her missing son, Artemus. The article claimed he had been seen in Hawaii exploring the islands. Eleanor had been receiving typewritten letters allegedly from her son since his disappearance in 1935. The letters suddenly stopped after publication of the article suggesting Artemis was alive and well in Hawaii. Police eventually confirmed that Artemis Ogletree and the murdered Roland T. Owen were indeed the same person. Artemis had left home in April 1934 to see the country, never indicating trouble or fear. His family had no knowledge of his death until informed by authorities in 1937, more than 2 years after the murder. Some believe Ogletree was involved in organized crime and killed over a deal gone wrong. Others suggest a love triangle, noting the repeated mentions of Don and Owen's dying word Sandy, possibly names of his killers. The anonymous payment for his funeral hints at someone who cared for him or felt remorse. The deliberate removal of identification, the locked room, the false name, the anonymous calls and funeral arrangements, each element adds to the profound strangeness of the case. Most disturbing is the apparent campaign to convince Ogletree's family he was still alive long after his brutal murder. Despite multiple investigations spanning decades, the murder of Roland T. Owen, Artemis Ogletree, in room 1046 remains unsolved. The hotel president still stands in Kansas City, now converted to luxury apartments. Room 1046 no longer exists, remodeled away during renovations. But the questions it raises continue to echo across nearly 9 decades. Who killed Artemis Ogletree? How did they enter and exit a locked room? And why was someone determined to hide the truth of his death? The mail carrier's routine route through Circleville, Ohio, became anything but ordinary in 1976. Among bills and birthday cards, a new kind of correspondence began appearing in mailboxes, anonymous letters filled with accusations, threats, and intimate details that only someone close could know. Mary Gillespie, a school bus driver and mother, collected her mail one afternoon to find an envelope addressed in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside, typed words leapt from the page. "I know about your affair with the superintendent." The letter demanded she end the relationship or face public exposure. Mary denied any impropriety, but the letters kept coming, each one more threatening, more personal than the last. The anonymous writer seemed to track her movements, describing her daily routine with unnerving accuracy. When her husband Ron received similar letters, tension gripped their home. The accusations threatened to tear apart not just their marriage, but the entire community. The writer warned Ron that if he didn't stop his wife's alleged affair, he would pay the price. On August 19, 1977, Ron Gillespie left home after receiving a phone call. Hours later, his car was found wrapped around a tree. His blood alcohol level suggested intoxication, yet friends insisted he rarely drank. The crash was ruled an accident. Had Ron confronted someone about the letters? Was his death truly accidental? The letters paused briefly after Ron's death, then resumed with renewed fury. Mary continued receiving them, now with a more ominous tone. "You've had your warning." In 1983, while driving her school bus route, Mary noticed a sign posted on a fence along her path. It contained another crude message about her supposed affair. She stopped to remove it and discovered something chilling. The sign was rigged to a small box containing an undetonated pistol designed to fire when the sign was pulled down. The makeshift booby trap failed, but the investigation intensified. Authorities analyzed the handwriting and determined Paul Freshour, Ron's brother-in-law, might be responsible. A search of his home uncovered a typewriter that matched the letters. Despite maintaining his innocence, Freshour was convicted in October 1983, not for writing the letters, but for attempted murder with the booby trap. "I did not write the letters," Freshour told the court. "I did not place that gun." He received a sentence of 7 to 25 years. Case closed, officials thought. Yet mysteriously, the letters continued. Hundreds more circulated throughout Circleville, while Fresh Hour remained in prison under tight security, with no mailing privileges. Recipients included local businesses, a television station, and even the prison warden. "You got the wrong man," one letter taunted. In 1994, Fresh Hour was released after serving his sentence. That same year, the letters abruptly stopped. Before his death in 2012, Fresh Hour maintained his innocence, insisting someone else had terrorized Circleville. Over nearly 2 decades, thousands of letters appeared, each carrying fragments of secrets, accusations, and threats. The writer demonstrated intimate knowledge of the community's affairs, suggesting someone hidden in plain sight. Despite multiple investigations, handwriting analyses, and forensic examinations, the identity of the Circleville letter writer remains unknown. The case stands as one of America's most perplexing small-town mysteries, where ordinary mail became a weapon, and a community's trust disintegrated with each envelope that arrived. The truth behind who wrote those letters remains sealed, much like the envelopes that once carried their menacing messages through a town forever changed by words from an unknown hand. On the afternoon of August 20th, 1966, a boy flying a kite on Vintem Hill near Niterói, Brazil, made a discovery that would confound investigators for decades. There, sprawled on the grass, lay 2 men dressed in formal suits and raincoats, each wearing a peculiar lead mask covering their eyes. No signs of struggle, no obvious trauma, just 2 bodies arranged side by side on the steep hillside, as if carefully placed there to face the sky. The men were identified as Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel José Viana, electronic technicians from Campos dos Goitacazes, a town over 200 kilometers away. They had told family members they needed to buy supplies for work and would return the same day. They never did. Police retraced their final movements. The men had purchased waterproof coats despite the clear weather. They carried no weapons, only a packet containing 2 towels and an empty water bottle. Most puzzling was a small notebook with a cryptic message written in Portuguese. 16:30 be at the agreed place. 18:30 swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mass signal. No capsules were found. No explanation of what the agreed place might be. No indication of what signal they were waiting for. The investigation revealed more questions than answers. The men had withdrawn significant funds before their journey, enough for a simple shopping trip, plus a substantial amount extra, but only a small portion of this money was found with their bodies. The rest had vanished. A waitress at a bar recalled serving them. One appeared nervous, checking his watch repeatedly. They purchased bottled water, unusual for casual bar patrons in 1966. By the time authorities discovered the bodies, decomposition had progressed significantly, rendering toxicology results inconclusive. Had they ingested the mysterious capsules mentioned in their note? What substance might have caused their deaths without leaving a trace? The lead masks themselves offered no clear explanation. Crudely cut from lead sheet, they resembled radiation shields, but provided no practical protection. They appeared ritualistic, not functional. Journalists quickly connected the case to UFO phenomena. Vintem Hill had a history of reported sightings, and the men's arrangement, facing the sky with improvised eye coverings, suggested they might have been preparing to witness something extraordinary. Others proposed connections to esoteric religious practices. The men allegedly participated in spiritualist groups that combined elements of Brazilian spiritual traditions with scientific experimentation. Were they attempting to contact otherworldly entities through some dangerous ritual? The electronic technician's professional background added another layer. Could they have been constructing some device, perhaps explaining their need for supplies? Did their technical knowledge lead them to experiment with something beyond conventional understanding? Despite multiple investigations over subsequent decades, the lead mask case remains unsolved. Brazilian authorities eventually closed the file, listing the cause of death as unknown. What were two respectable technicians doing there? What did they believe would happen when they donned those crude lead masks? And who, or what, were they waiting for as the sun set over Niterói on that August evening in 1966? If you found these stories as compelling and disturbing as I did, please take a moment to subscribe to Murder and Mystery HQ and join our community of mystery seekers. Hit that notification bell to ensure you never miss a case. Let me know in the comments which of these mysteries haunts you the most, or if you have theories about what might have happened. Stay safe and stay curious.